on KFAB and on WHO in Des Moines, KFOR in Lincoln, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. That's a show intended for consumers. But one of the things that is a little bit different about Schrock that you may not realize is that we have an interactive division that's all about business. Everything from corporate service agreements to website development to search engine marketing and just general business strategy in how to bring people in the door and how to make things work. And one of the things that struck me as I've been watching all of the COVID-19 news throughout the shutdown and everything else, is that number one, all the rules are out the window. Everything has changed. There are going to be businesses that come out of this on top. There are going to be businesses that come out of this completely devastated, destroyed, and gone. There are businesses that are in the middle that are going to be struggling every day to survive if they weren't already. So the question that I have then is, for my own business, how do I take Schrock Innovations or Schrock Interactive and make it be one of the businesses on top? And so then we thought, as I was talking about this in a weekly meeting with my Schrock Innovations and Schrock Interactive staff, joining me here today on the podcast is Alfonso. He is our senior developer over at Schrock Interactive. We have Kara with search engine marketing and optimization. And we have Annette, our business solutions consultant, who, go ahead and give him a wave, Annette. Oh, okay, I thought she was frozen again.
I did too.
It's the wonders of podcasting, guys. And thanking Zoom here today for allowing us the platform to do this on short notice. So it's pretty awesome. But basically, the team that I have with me in the podcast today is here to talk to businesses about businesses. And so when we're talking about shutdowns and coronavirus and sickness and death and loss of jobs, and it's a very personal thing. It's very emotional. So please don't misunderstand. When we go through this stuff, the show that we do on the airwaves, that one is intended for consumers and for people who are interacting with businesses. This podcast is about how businesses can interact with customers. So it's a different perspective, right? So the biggest question that I think everybody has right now is, when can we get back to normal? When can we go outside of our houses? When can we go back to the malls? Not just Nebraska Crossing, right? But when can we go back to the malls? When can we get back to doing the things that we need to do, that we want to do? Unfortunately, it is my heartfelt belief that we will not be getting back to normal anytime soon. That's not a pleasant thing. It's not a fun thing. I hope it's not a true thing, but I genuinely believe that it is. So once you accept that you're going to have to change the way your business works, then you have the mental freedom to make those changes. And so what we want to talk to you about, we're going to have 4 segments to our show today. And these 4 segments, we're not going to have any commercials. We don't have any fancy intro music. This was literally thrown together like in a week, okay? And so basically I have people here with me that have every aspect of the online business world that you have been thrown into now, as a nail salon, for example, or a hair salon or a restaurant. You didn't really need an e-commerce platform before. Now you're dead if you don't have one. And before, it didn't make sense to have an e-commerce platform. That's why you didn't have it. It doesn't make sense for a nail salon to give people a way to pay online. You pay when your nails are done. That's just how it works. At the hair salon, you maybe if we're fancy, we can book you online, but you pay there. You don't do it all online. Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. It's a wasteful application of capital from a business perspective. Now, what was a wasteful allocation of capital 6 weeks ago is now the only way your business can be open. Mm-hmm. So at this point, we need to figure out a way that we can get the businesses in the state of Nebraska reopened, and we can start to chart that path forward. And again, it's going to be emotional because there's a lot of people who believe that businesses should remain closed. There's a lot of people that believe we should stay home right now. There's other people who believe we should reopen everything and just let everybody get it, let it burn through. So one of the things that's interesting about the group of people that we have on the podcast today is, Kara, your parents are respiratory therapists. They're working in Grand Island right now in Hall County. So we have a very unique perspective about what is happening on the ground in Hall County, why it happened, and how it happened. And the interesting thing that I think from our conversations, Kara, that I take away from everything is there is nobody who's 100% right here. You can't just blindly reopen everything, or you're gonna destroy everything. Mm-hmm. You can't keep everybody locked down because you're going to destroy everything. So there's got to be a happy middle ground. So later in the program, we're going to talk about where that happy middle ground is, because as a business, if you can figure out where that middle ground is, you can prepare to take advantage of that middle ground. You can prepare to do battle in that battlefield of e-commerce and commerce, and gain customers and take market share and do the things that maybe as a business owner you never really thought about in such a tactician kind of way before. But now there's not going to be as much commerce compared to what was there before. So it's more important than ever that you are capturing every single possible sale. I know there are businesses that are struggling. Some businesses have died. There are other businesses that are open and struggling, and some businesses that are just making money like the sun's shining right now. And there's the full gamut of everything. So we're here to talk to everybody. So please don't misunderstand. If we cite a specifically dreary example, we're not saying that's everybody. If we cite a really optimistic side, we're not saying that's everybody. But what we're trying to do here is to tell you, number one, you have options. You have things that you can do as a business owner right now that cost you nothing to get prepared for the reopening that will eventually happen. Whether it happens this weekend at Nebraska Crossing, whether it happens 2 weeks from now, whether it happens a month from now, you need to be prepared for it. So we're going to give you concrete ideas in this podcast. Number one, how you can generate revenue right now. And I'm not just saying go sell gift certificates online. That's great. The chambers and everything that are doing that, that's awesome. It doesn't light my fire. We're up on all of them. Not a single person has bought a Schrock gift certificate from that. Not one person. You know, it was a great idea. It just didn't work. People don't buy gift certificates, especially unemployed people don't buy gift certificates for things that they don't know when they're going to use. It just doesn't happen. So what we're going to do on the show is we're going to tell you how you can make money right now as a business, how you can generate sales and revenue. Number two, we're going to tell you that no matter what your product or service is, I'm going to throw this at Alfonso. He doesn't even know I'm going to do this. I'm going to give him different products and services, and I'm going to say, Alfonso, I'm a hair salon. Go. What do I sell? When I can't cut people's hair, color people's hair, can't open my doors, how do I make money? Mr. Smarty Pants, tell me please. Because as everyone can see, Alfonso has a boss haircut. So yeah, he obviously is connected. So let's just go ahead and jump into this and get started, guys. So the first thing is, where do we stand right now? So Kara, what is happening? What are your parents telling you is happening in Grand Island and Hall County right now, and how is it going to be applicable to like the Nebraska Crossing Mall reopening this weekend?
Right. So my mom actually, she was sent out to Grand Island a little over a week ago. There was a huge surge of COVID-19. That's where, the majority of it is in Nebraska. She is back now. They transferred a lot of them here to Omaha.
A lot of the patients?
A lot of the patients, yes. And so she said they got it contained. Contained is a strong word. She came back because she is one of the senior respiratory practitioners at Bergen Mercy, so they need her. She's in the trauma hospital. So there's a few things that we've discussed as a family. One is there is this, they're almost unsure of how to handle it. For one, they're not sure if ventilators are the answer. For two, they don't know whether or not we should open. The reason that we flattened the curve was not to prevent people from getting it. It was just to slow down the people who were going to get it from everybody getting it at the same time. So we didn't overwhelm our health system, our healthcare system. Excuse me. So basically, there's this kind of conflicting idea, right? So we could open up and we could have people who are high risk, take that risk, right, and see kind of what happens. We did find out, or my mother actually found out, that there is an antigen test that they can do. There's one locally that's like a drive up where you can get tested to see if you have previously had COVID-19. Which is great because then we'll know, some people, my dad is also a respiratory practitioner, and his comment last night was, it's crazy. Some people get it and they don't even know they have it. And some people get it and are so sick that no matter what we do, we can't save them. So it almost makes you kind of wonder, if somebody with high risk did already had it and they were fine, then it would almost be a new way to look at the virus.
Gotcha. So I guess the challenge as business owners that we have going forward is keeping gatherings of 10 people or less in place. When you keep a gathering of 10 people or less in place, a restaurant effectively can't reopen. A movie theater can't reopen. Nail salons can't really reopen. Hair salons, the bigger ones can't reopen. Smaller ones probably could. The bigger ones couldn't. There's a lot of challenges there because it's impossible to maintain 10 people or less and maintain a 6-foot distance from your patron in those environments. So eventually, obviously, those regulations are going to have to be relaxed. So I think, in my opinion, a likely path forward here will be a gradual relaxation of these requirements. So, for example, you can work within 6 feet of a person if you're doing their hair or their nails, but you both have to be wearing a mask, which is going to be really interesting when you have the elastic behind your hair, and you're trying to cut the hair. That's going to be fun.
It's so hard to breathe in them.
Recycling your own carbon dioxide, I'm sure, is super duper healthy. So if you're a business owner, though, how can you prepare your business to do that? So one of the things that we're doing at Schrock, our service centers, all 3 of them are open to the public. So you can come into our shop, you can buy a computer, you can drop off your computer for repair. Our customers are putting demands on us that we haven't seen before. For example, we feel we're doing a great job. We sanitize everything when it comes in. We sanitize it again when it goes out. We're cleaning the surfaces every hour up front. We're making sure whenever we show computers, people type on them right after they're done, right after they walk out the door. We don't want to do it in front of them because that's kind of rude. But once they leave, we spray it all down again. It's like, there it is. We actually get to the point where we're like cleaning the Lysol residue off things. So it's pretty sanitary. But then yesterday, Ryan in the Papillion Service Center had a customer who somebody brought in a computer. She brought in a computer to have it repaired, and then she was picking it up. And so while Ryan was helping her, she came in to pick up her computer, and so he was going to go in the back and get it. Right before he went into the back, another customer came in with a recycle and said, "Hey, I'd like to recycle my computer. We don't charge for recycling." The guy took the computer, Ryan took the computer into the back, this guy's computer, because it was just a really quick thing. Then he grabbed her computer and brought it out to the front. And she was upset with him for cross-contamination. You can't touch his computer and then touch my computer. Now, you're going to have people like that. And you're also going to have scenarios where my wife and I last Friday, we went to Shields. We had to wait outside because they were only allowing a certain number of people in the store. So there was 6 feet of distance between each of us in the line, except it was really cold. And my wife said, "Hey, fat guy, stand behind me and block the wind." And so, because she didn't have a coat, we didn't plan on being stuck outside for 20 minutes while we waited to get into Shields. She didn't really say it like that, but we know that's what she meant. Okay. And so anyway, when someone tells you to stand behind them to block the wind, there isn't really a nice way to say that, okay? Like, the sun is bright, stand behind me, block it out. So I'm standing behind her, and she's right in front of me, right in front of me. And so we get into the little vestibule at Shields there where we're the next people in line to go in, and they have 2 dots there. And they're like, "Sir, we need you guys to stand 6 feet apart." And I look at her and I'm like, "For real? I mean, we came in the same car. We sleep in the same bed. We've been standing on the same dot the whole way here." The lady just looks at me. She goes, "Sir, we just have to make it look like we're doing this, okay?" And she said it really nicely, but it was just that plea like, this is coming down from corporate. We don't want to be doing this either. I don't want to be standing here in these useless rubber gloves where I just stand here with rubber gloves on like it's going to attack my hands and get into my body. But I have to do that too. So we separated on our dots or whatever. And you're going to have businesses like that are like, we got to keep up the appearances because people are What's that?
My mother went to Home Depot and she said took her 45 minutes to get into the store.
Yeah. I did a pickup at Home Depot for this amazing background that my wife built me just for this podcast. And we did a curbside pickup. It took 35 minutes for them to bring it out to the truck. And the guy that brought it out to the truck had his thumb like wrapped in gauze, like huge, like big old gauze wrap. And he's like, "Yeah, sorry it took so long. I had to do it one-handed." I'm like, "I would have loved to come in and help you, but did you try to cut your thumb off or something? Like, what did you do?" So anyway, I'm off topic. I tend to wander sometimes. So from a business perspective, though, what do you need to do? And so I guess if I'm running Schrock Innovations, which I am, and I say Here's what we're going to do. We're going to clean surfaces, not just clean and sanitize the surfaces for the sake of having them clean and sanitized, because that's the thing. You can spray Lysol if you can even find Lysol. You can spray Lysol all day on things. Lysol doesn't kill every bacterium and virus on a surface. It's designed to break up virus clusters. So it doesn't sanitize the surface. If you want to sanitize the surface, you need a bleach solution, and you have to get it wet with that, and you have to let it air dry. You can't wipe it off. So you got to clean it and sanitize it separately as separate steps. You can certainly do that. But one of the things we're doing at Schrock is, part of this keeping up of appearances, we're cleaning the windowsills. We're doing like a lot of cleaning that the guys normally would do once a month. We're doing it much more regularly so that our customers, when they walk in, if you see like a bunch of dead spiders in the windowsill, you're like, they don't clean very often in here. If you don't see that, you can make the assumption that we're cleaning pretty often because we are. When we send computers in and out, when you take your new computer home from Schrock and you open that laptop up, there's a little, it's a piece of, fabric that goes over the keyboard. And it gets a shot of Lysol on the keyboard, and we put the fabric on it, and we close the laptop. So when you open it up, you get that sweet, effervescent Lysol smell coming up out of your new computer because we're sanitizing it. Right. We're doing our part to make sure that we are not going to be a source of contagion. We don't want to be a meat packing plant in Grand Island where everybody's getting infected, right? So we're small enough that we can do that. But there are other businesses that can't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break here. This is kind of the introductory segment. It's going to be weird for people watching it live because we're going to take this later and cut it up into pieces and post it on the website with each different topic. So we're going to take a quick break, which you will not see as a break. It'll be as a time of moment of silence. And then we're going to resume with another segment. And it's going to seem really weird, but it's going to work. All right. So when we come back, the next segment, we're going to talk to you about what you as a business right now, you've suddenly woke up and you've realized your business that has never needed e-commerce before suddenly needs e-commerce. So each one of us is going to throw a different business at Alfonso, and we're going to ask him what he would do if he was the owner of that business and he had to put some kind of e-commerce online to make money. Now, granted, we are not experts in every business. So if we say, dog poop pickup business, we don't know everything about picking up the poop, okay? So bear with us a little bit. This is all about ideas. This is about taking what is a very sad, depressing, crappy situation and finding a way to look at it in a positive way where there is opportunity. Because as we all know, the virus potentially originated from China, right? Potentially. And this virus that allegedly was released in Wuhan or escaped in Wuhan or whatever the case might be and spread across the world. China has a symbol for crisis in their language, and it's two symbols. And the first one is danger, which certainly is applicable here, and the second symbol is opportunity. So a crisis is a dangerous situation that has opportunity, and it does. This is a dangerous situation that does have opportunity for small businesses. That doesn't mean it's going to be painless. It doesn't mean that it's opportunity for you. It could be opportunity for somebody else. But the whole point of this podcast is to make sure that you are in a place where you can get that opportunity. So we're going to tell you some ideas that we have for different business types coming up next. All right. Welcome back to Schrock Talk. I love that break. All right. For real, though. All right. Welcome back to Schrock Talk, guys. We're going to talk a little bit in this segment about different business types. And so I'm going to throw the first one at you, Alfonso. I'm going to say, because every time I go on Facebook and, Governor Ricketts has a press conference or President Trump has a press conference that's carried on Facebook Live. Every single time, one of the first persons that comments on that is either a salon owner or a hairstylist that is out of work, has no money, gets junk for unemployment if they even get it because they make a lot of their money on tips or they're self-employed. So, Alfonso, I own a hair salon. I have 25 seats in my salon. We do cuts, we do colors. We're normally booked full, and I have a laundry list of clients that I can't help right now. How do I make money when I can't open my doors?
Well, Tor, I think that obviously right now you're not going to be dealing with clients, like you normally do, like clients going to your shop, clients, seating clients, if you have 15, 20 different chairs over there, you're not going to have any because you are not allowed to do that. So basically what I think that right now what you can do is get, like this time, use this time to see everything, all your business processes that you do internally. Like, because most of the time we always say like, yeah, I would like to do this, but I don't have time because, I got a customer in my door. So the customer is not going to be waiting there for 15, 20 minutes. So that's not happening right now. So basically it's, I would say like work in the back end of your business right now. So, first, that this is gonna, at some point, this is gonna end. Like that these restrictions are not gonna be there anymore. You're gonna be allowed to receive customers, and I think this is the time that you gotta prepare for when that moment, when you reach this situation, this moment. So, in a salon, for example, let's say that you have I don't know, 200, 300 different customers that you haven't seen in a couple of months. I'm pretty sure that when you decide to open and when you are allowed to open, those 200, 300 customers that you haven't seen in this period, they want to be the first one.
They want a haircut, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So how do you prepare for this? So of course, you can start calling them, taking a piece of paper and writing down everything, but that's not gonna be basically a good solution for you. You're not optimizing your processes. So right now would be a good time to optimize your processes. How can you optimize your processes? Well, that's when you try to automate them, basically. So you can start with a website, right? That with a let's not say a website. Let's start with a database, right? So where you can keep all your customer data there, and then you start like planning. Basically, start planning. First, start planning your services. What are the most profitable? What are the time that you usually spend the services. So basically you want to start scheduling customers right now, but in that way, when the time comes, you already have like and start a schedule for you.
I like that.
Also, it's not only about the scheduling with the customer. If you're gonna be before you used to have like 4 or 5 customers a day, probably now you will have 10, 12. So you're gonna be doubling. So how are you gonna do that? So do you need some help? Are you gonna hire like a part-time person? So it's all about the planification that you need to think about it. What about the resources that you need to have, like 10, 12 different customers the same day? So you will need more products, things like that. So I think right now it's the right time to start thinking for that day.
Gotcha.
How can
so
go
ahead. I like what you're saying, because it's getting my creative juices going. I'm like,
okay.
So now, I'm thinking I'm the business owner. I've been shut down. My rent is 2 months past due. My people haven't been paid because they haven't been working. I didn't want to take the PPP loan because I can't pay my people to do nothing. So, and besides that, the amount wouldn't have been significant enough to do anything anyway, because most of my people make their money on tips.
Okay.
So and let's just be honest, guys. If you make your money on tips, you're reporting 10% of your tips, and that's why your unemployment blows. So it's like it's like the bizarro world, right? Everything is upside down. If you were gaming the system before, now the system is gaming you.
It's gaming you, yes.
And it's like everything's backwards. So how do I, as a salon owner, where I have depleted capital, I have no money because I have no income. Maybe I was just scraping by before, or making a modest profit, or maybe my lifestyle was adjusted to the point where I was taking most of the profit from my business and buying things, living my life with it, as a business owner. So how do I come out of that? And so I love what you said about, automating the processes. And I know the visceral reaction from a lot of business owners when you say, now is the time to work on your business, not in your business. They're like, boop, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, they don't want to hear that right now. They want to get back in there. They want the cash register dinging. They want the money in the bank accounts. They want to get things rolling. So what if you could do both at once? So, okay, like you said, right now there's a ton of people that are all going to want haircuts. And I know my wife has called her stylist because she was scheduled for a haircut the day before they shut down.
Okay.
And she called them like 2 days before that and said, I'd really like to move up my haircut because I'm worried you guys are going to get shut down. And they're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Well, you were on Thursday. We'll move you to Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, they shut them down. So, and she called up her stylist. She said, I better be the very first person you see when this thing is over with. But you know, everybody's calling her and saying that, right?
Yes.
So first thing is, okay, when you reopen, you're going to have 200 customers. How long does it take to cut and color hair, ladies? I don't know. How long does it take?
An hour and a half?
I can't hear Annette. No microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay.
So an
Let's
hour
go
and a
an
half.
hour and a half. Yes.
Let's call it 2 hours. Let's call it 2 hours because you haven't. These haircuts
Say
are going to take a
hi.
while. These women are bushy, you know. They haven't had a cut in 2 months. Can't hear Annette. So basically, are you muted again? I don't know. I didn't mute you. Nope, you're not muted.
I think you have to go into your audio setting.
So basically, then if you have 2 hours of haircut and you have 20 seats in your salon, let's say, that means that in a day, in an 8-hour day, so 2, 4, 6, 8, you can do 4 haircuts per chair per day, right? So if you do that, maybe you should decide, like when you reopen, you have like a grand reopening celebration of some sort, and you have extended hours. You're open from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. or some crazy thing you would never do. But then, see, that's great. That's all planning. That's future thinking. And Thor, maybe I've been doing that for the last month, but I'm kind of over that now. So here's the next one. This is where the secret sauce of what Alfonso was saying can come together and do both things. What if you had an e-commerce website set up that allowed people to not just call their stylist and say, I better be the very first person? What if they could actually go online and put their money on the table and say,
Awesome.
I am reserved as the first person.
Actually,
I have that spot.
yeah, we do have clients that do that. So you can do that if you want to for some specific services. It's not like, I don't know, I know ladies spend a lot of money in doing hair, so I know that they...
You notice he said that more quietly? I think his wife is on the other side of that door.
Yeah.
I think he knows we're here.
Please don't make me repeat that. But yeah, but I know that, like we could go 400, 500, I don't know, something like that. That's what I heard. So
We do know how often I dye my hair. So.
yeah, so probably it's going to be hard for your customer to pay that full amount in advance. But you can do like a...
Well, no, that's the thing right now. That's the beautiful thing, Alfonso. Right now, normally, as a business owner, I'm like, how do I generate interest? Should I discount? Should I coupon? Should I be an exclusive salon where you have to pay full freight to get in? Right now, if you have the dry powder, if you have the money to book an appointment, you get the first appointment.
Right.
That's the number one thing. This is why we can't do this on the Compute This show, guys, because this is a message that literally it's not fair. It's not fair, that I can't be the first person if I don't have the money to put down today because I haven't got my unemployment yet or whatever. It doesn't matter. As a business owner right now, you need to put funds in the bank. So how do you do that? You get a website put together that allows people to book their appointments. I'm sure even if you don't have something specifically built for you, you could do this with a piece of paper and a pen. You could literally say, we're going to be open extra hours. We're going to be open from this time to this time. You talk to your stylist because the biggest worry that I would have as a business owner is I'm going to lose the talent. I have really good employees. If I don't pay them for a long period of time and maybe Sarpy County reopens their hair salons before Douglas or Lancaster County does, maybe I lose those people because they have families to feed.
That's what I was going to add to it is making sure your finger's on the trigger because we really don't know when we're going to be open. We don't know if it's going to be all of a sudden we're going to have, somebody's going to come on the news and say, okay, it's time. And you're not ready. Like you're going to lose because everybody's going to go to your competition.
And from a business standpoint, you also have scarcity. because we could reopen today, but we could close again next week.
Exactly.
You better get in while you can. And that's going to be believe me, guys, that's going to happen. We're going to have hotspots that pop up just like Grand Island, and then they're going to shut that down. They're going to shut that local area down. It's going to happen again. And people from that local area can't go traveling outside the local area to go take advantage of services because that defeats the spread, right? So the long and the short of it is, imagine now you have, how far in the future do you want to book? Well, Thor, we don't know when we're going to be able to reopen. How can we book people? That's the thing. If I haven't been out of my house in 2 months and I need a haircut, and you tell me you can get me in Tuesday at 3, whatever Tuesday that is,
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Yep.
And if you're not comfortable as a consumer buying that open-ended kind of appointment, then you won't do it. And then as a result, when things do open up and you call your salon's going to say, sorry, we're booked through like next month. And we already have that money in the bank. So our rent is paid. My mental health is good. I've got the money to pay my people. They've got tip money rolling in. We can upsell things that's where you do your discounting and your couponing, is once you get people in for their appointments, you find something new to upsell, or, you need to pamper, have a, what do they do at like Massage Envy? Like get an aroma therapy.
Yeah, you already know the service. You already know the service that customer is going to have, and you can plan ahead and offer those add-ons, basically.
I like that.
That's what we're talking about doing, guys. We're talking about getting everybody together into one place, and one where the technology meets the entrepreneur meets the employee, and we find a way to get through a short, hopefully, period of time where we can't work. And then if the business has the money, has the capital, because the payroll protection plan was great, guys, but that was for employees. The business doesn't get to keep the money. They have to pay their people with it. So nobody's helping small business right now. The only thing that Congress did was pass a law that says you have to pay your employees for 14 days of not working if they get coronavirus. Gee, thanks for that punch in the face. Employees love it, but for business owners, it was a punch in the face. And now you're saying, I can't fire you for 14 days because I can't pay you because there's no work and you have coronavirus or whatever. And you can't prove it because you can't get a test. All you have to do is go into work and say, I think I got COVID, and then you're out for 2 weeks paid. It's an awful situation for small businesses, but now we can use technology to turn that around and get. Okay, Annette, let's say I'm a business owner. I have the salon, 25 seats. I like Alfonso's idea. I want to create an e-commerce platform on my website, something really simple that allows people to book an appointment and either make a deposit or buy some fixed services. So like I'm going to buy a haircut and a color, and the cost for reserving that 2-hour block of time is this much money. So a really simple system. How much is that going to cost me?
Really simple. To start a basic website?
I already have a website. I just want to add some e-commerce to it. Like one quick thing, a scheduling platform, basically. Mm-hmm. And I could do it by hand.
Okay.
If I have an automated way to do it, then all of my customers can come at one time. And they can all give me the money.
Yeah, an automated process. But I'd say around the cost, we do different types of plans, right? Okay. We have, it just depends. We have a low down payment of $2,500, right?
Okay.
And then we also can do monthly payments. It just depends on how vast, where you want to go with this. But, we have different plans. We can do payment plans. We can do down payments. We have starting plans at $2,500. It just depends on where you go with it.
So, Alfonso, given what we know now, if Annette came to you and said, I have a client with 25 seats, and I'm not trying to make this into a commercial for Schrock Interactive, guys. I'm really not. But if Annette came to you and said that, what would you tell her? How much would you tell her? Like, how many hours would it take for you to build? We're not talking about adding like 17 colors and, I want a curly haircut, I want a straight haircut, or I want to, basically you can book an appointment and you can pick your stylist.
Okay. Well, yeah, how long will it take me? To be honest, there are already tools that we use to do this. It's not like we're going to reinvent the wheel or something like that. We're going to be using tools that already exist, but we're going to create a solution for you. So that's
So how many hours is that going to take, Alfonso?
How many hours? So
What's the money? That's what I'm trying to get to here.
Okay, good.
What's the money?
So let's say that you already have a website, right? We're just going to be doing this. We can have this ready, like, let's give it a week, right? Yeah, really.
You can go from zero to
Well,
an e-commerce.
No, we're assuming that you already have a website.
Right.
Right,
So-
but it's not e-commerce equipped.
No, yeah, a week. I'm confident that a week we can do that part. So we're just gonna be. It's gonna be like an appointments setting,
Right.
a feature. Of course, it could get more complicated if we start getting payments, because we can have only the appointments feature. But then if you want to add the payment part.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We do.
Okay.
We want the money.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it could take a little bit longer because we gotta do the integration with the credit card companies. That's gonna be processing the pay.
Let me summarize it then. Are we saying like 2 weeks and $2,000 to $2,500?
That's what I'm saying as far as payment wise. Yes, 2,500.
So
Yeah.
now here's the thing. I know, guys, that in the past, all right, it's kind of loosey-goosey, but Schrock Interactive does financing, right?
Right.
So we will take a business that we believe is – now, I've had guys come to me like, Thor, I want you to build me the next Facebook, and I want you to finance it. And I'm like, no. Let me tell you a competitor you can go talk to about that, though.
Right.
Or then there was remember the wedding guy from Kmart? He was going to buy an old Kmart and make it like a wedding boutique where you go in and plan your whole wedding. Like you could go talk to the photographer and talk to the florist, and they would all just be standing in this old Kmart waiting for people to come in and talk wedding stuff.
Yes.
And we're like, this is a terrible idea. And he's like, but I want you to finance it for me. And we're like, no. But then again, we have people that come into us that are legit business owners that have small businesses. If a salon came in and said, look, we normally have 25 seats. We were booked full all the time. We want to put this up. We want to get something like this done, but we don't have $2,500 because, hello, we're not open.
I have a solution.
What's the solution?
I have a solution. I mean, we can do, like I said, we're here to help, right? We want your business to succeed, but we do offer payment plans, right? I mean,
Right, so we can do zero
so
down.
we can do 0 down, 36 months, no interest.
So just a straight divide by 36.
Just a
So
straight-
2,500 divided by 36. Let me do that real quick.
Yes.
So 2,500 divided by 36 is $69.50 a month for 3 years.
Wow. Awesome, right?
Okay. So anyway, I don't want to make this into a commercial. That's not the point of the segment. The point of the segment is no matter what your business is, guys, if you have somebody who understands how e-commerce works, you can make this work. So now let me give you another one. Kara, I'm a restaurant.
Okay.
And I obviously can't have people in my dining room, and I don't have a drive-through. So I want to do a to-go menu. How do I do that and make money?
I think that's an Alfonso question.
He said, Kara. No, well,
All right. How do we do it and make money, Alfonso? What is the first thing that we have to do?
First, Alfonso has to build the infrastructure, right? He has to build the component for the e-commerce side of it.
Okay, so we need to have our menu online
yes.
Right.
because that's where I'm going. I can't. In my
Right.
neighborhood, there's a person who owns a local restaurant,
Okay.
and they're on Facebook like, Takeout Tuesday, come see our. And I'm like, I want to support them. They're my neighbors. I want to support them. So I've never been to their restaurant before. I didn't know that they owned it. So I go to their website, and there is not a single menu, not even a normal menu on their website for what.
Well, you should have started with that. That would make it.
There's your content.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you got to have a menu, right?
Right.
You have to have your content on. Yeah.
You have to build your content. Yes.
All right, so you got to have a menu, and then I'm guessing you got to have a shopping cart, a way to put stuff in the cart. And if you're PF Chang's and you're trying to support a local restaurant and you go there and you order food like I did the other day, you better not forget the sweet and sour sauce because that's really disappointing. When I'm specific, I'm spending $52 to go buy dinner for 4 people and drive it back to my house, and I don't get my sauce.
It sounds.
Yeah, no, there's nothing personal there at all. But it's one of those things where you got to make sure it's accuracy. You got to have accurate orders because right now people don't have much, no pun intended, of an appetite for that kind of thing. And again, it's the same thing, right, Alfonso? I mean, we're talking about getting an e-commerce system put together. You're taking a payment for it. We got to have a way to get the orders to whoever's processing the orders, right?
Yeah, actually, going back to about the content, sometimes the content will define your site because the content that you may that you have, your user experience has to be has to be designed specifically to that content that you have. If you have a product like the one you mentioned, that you really want to have an option to the soy sauce to have it right there, just like a click a button or just include it, because your business, that 90% of the customers that goes there like to have the soy sauce in their meal.
Especially if on your ticket it says sauce on the side.
Yes.
That's kind of important.
And
it's
those
like eating
little,
chicken nuggets with chopsticks. I mean,
yeah, those little things start. When you start, for that reason, I would say it's a little bit difficult. Sometimes to be like, okay, yeah, we can have that ready in a week or 2 weeks, because then you start getting all the details about the business. So, do you want to add this? Do you want to add that? Or probably
the feature creep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why you look at your competitors and you look and you compare notes and you find out what's missing and what you need to add as far as content. So
that's definitely where I come in.
Yep.
That is a great segue. So, guys, this is a good segment. So the bottom line here, what we're trying to communicate with this segment is whether you need an e-commerce solution or you can do it with a pen and a pad and paper. Maybe you don't have a 25-chair salon. Maybe you have a 5-chair salon, and you can do this with a pad and paper. You know who your clients are. You know who needs to get their hair cut. You take your stylists. You have them bang the phones. You have them get on the phones and call their clients and book the sessions and take the credit card numbers, and you pay them a percentage of any appointments they can book. Right?
Excellent. Yes.
That's how I would do it. If I was in your shoes. Now, I don't know, maybe there's some law or regulation or something that gets in the way of that. I don't know. That's why we're web people and computer people and not hair people or restaurant people. But that's the thing. We will learn your business and help you do that. So no matter what type of business you run, there is a way to keep something moving forward. The scary thing about this situation is we don't know when it's going to end. There's some people who say we should just reopen right now and burn through. There are other people who say we need to stay closed for the rest of the year, that the kids aren't going to go back to school next year. That's a legit conversation that Papillion Public School District is talking with their teachers. They may do, colleges may not go back next year. They may do distance education for college next year. So, I mean, literally, this is something that's going to be with us in some form or another for the next 12 months. How do you survive? You can't sit on your butt for 12 months and wait for a government check. It's not going to happen. So this is what business owners have to do. We find a way. We find a way to make it happen. So find some options. Let's get something going. And I know it's easy for me to say that, and it's harder for other people to do that. But that's what people like us or your current – trust me, guys, there are other marketing firms in town right now that are literally dying. I'm not going to name names, but I know one in particular who just fired – not furloughed, fired all of their developers, all of their project managers, and cut down to like a core team of people, like 5 people. If I told you the accounts that this place held, there is the largest, maybe next to Memorial Stadium on a Husker game day, social public gathering business in the country is one of their, or in Nebraska is one of their clients. Another one of their clients is one of the largest privately held banks in the state of Nebraska. Those are their clients, and those clients are not spending money. So here's the world where we have big fish that are getting their fins clipped, and the little fish, the scrappy guys that are used to getting on and doing something and making something happen, have a unique opportunity here. It's a dangerous crisis with a unique opportunity. When we come back from this break, I want to talk with Kara about what you should be doing right now with your website. If you can't open, you have no ideas, you have no options, you don't want to do any kind of financing, even if it's 0 interest and 36, if we're taking all the risk from you, you don't care. There's nothing that anyone can do to help you. What can you do right now to prepare for the day when your business reopens? How are you going to take all the business from your competitors because you need it? And if they're going to sit on their butts and not do anything, why would you do that? So we're going to tell you exactly what you're going to need to do coming up next. And then Alfonso will lean in his chair because you've been holding that in for a while. All right, guys. Okay. All right, welcome back, guys. We appreciate you staying with us through the podcast here. We are continuing to talk about the things that small independent business owners can do to try to navigate through this crisis in some way. One of the things that astonishes me right now is I called our radio stations that we're on. We're on a lot of radio stations with our radio shows. Every single station, these are iHeart stations. This is Alpha Media stations in Lincoln. WHO in Des Moines is an iHeart station as well. What they're saying is, as a rule, most businesses are not canceling their contracts. They're just deferring them. And my guess is this is kind of how the conversation went. Hi, radio rep. Yeah, we are closed, and so we cannot afford to advertise right now. We need to cancel all of our commercials. Sales rep. Oh, wow, I'm so sorry to hear that you're having a difficult time right now, but we are here for you at ABC Radio Company. Tell you what we can do. Rather than canceling this contract that you signed, which we all know doesn't mean anything, rather than canceling this signed contract, why don't we take the ads that you would be running now and add them on the end of your schedule? That way, you are maintaining your top of mind awareness. You know, that's an outstanding idea because I don't care. I'm going to pay for it right now. So that works for me. And that's how the conversations go, I'm guessing. So the end result is when I talk to the sales rep, they're like, oh, nobody's canceling their contracts, but everyone is deferring them for later. Right. Have you noticed if you listen to the radio or watch TV, you're seeing the same commercials over and over and over? Or you're seeing, seeing the weird coronavirus lady. Right. I don't even know who she is, but her teeth are really bad. And she's telling me that, you know, it's important to wash your hands and stay apart from people in this time, you know. And I'm just like, who are you and why are you on my TV? So you're seeing PSAs and weird things. Well, guess what? Have you called and asked your radio station or TV station if they are running a corona schedule? Because they all are. What this means is you can't do this if you weren't advertising before. But if you were advertising before, if you're a current customer, you can cut a COVID-related commercial. And we did one for Schrock that's airing on all the radio stations that we're on right now. That's like, you know, hey, we're going to rah-rah, we're going to get through this together. Our service centers are open for business. Now, let me reword this for the hair salon. Rah, rah, we will get through this together. This is a tough time for us, especially in the hair industry, but we know it's a tough time for your roots too. So guess what? We're closed right now, but that's not always going to be the case. So make sure you go online to our website and book your appointment for when we reopen right now so that you're the first person that we see when the doors open again. We'll get through this together. Nebraska strong. Whatever.
Your true calling was probably writing slogans for hair salons.
Yeah, there we go. That's not going to work well. That's not going to work well. But you get what I'm saying, right? So this is a corona schedule. Radio stations are running those spots for free. So if you can get, you know, you make a 30-second commercial, you make a 60-second commercial, you get them recorded at the radio station. They're recording them for free. And they're running them on the airwaves for free. You're talking, this is the guy that, you know, we've been in business now for 21 years, right? So we're less scrappy than we used to be because we have the money to be less scrappy now. But when we didn't have that, I was the guy 15, 16, 17 years ago that when it snowed and they had like the school closings rolling across the bottom of the screen, I would call into the TV station and say, Schrock Innovations, essential personnel only need to report. So that we would get our name on the ticker.
On the screen, yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is free. Get the free money. Gosh, get it. So if you advertise on radio, TV, newspaper, magazine, anywhere, call your ad rep right now and ask them if they have a corona schedule. And they will say yes, because what you're doing is you're saying, hey, you've got a lot of unsold inventory right now that you can't use, and we'd like to provide some content so that when we can't really advertise right now because we're not open, but if we could provide you with these commercials, you could run them, and then you have content to put in there, and we have exposure, and it's free, and everyone's happy. So like I said, guys, all the rules are broken right now. Any rule that you thought that's just not the way the world worked before this, the government is sending people free checks. Helicopter money is here. It's going to be a disaster, but it's here. All of a sudden, people don't want to make stuff in China anymore.
Right.
wow, where did that come from? Over here, we got buy local, support local. It's like the Amex Small Business Day is here all month long. What other time are you going to have to take advantage of this? So get those ads rolling on the station. So with that said, once you've done the free stuff that you can do, I'm going to send this to you, Kara. So should we stay with the hair salon or should we go with a different business?
Oh, let's keep it.
What's something
Okay.
else?
Oh, well.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. You guys fight over it and we'll decide. Now we'll watch.
You fight all the time, don't
It's like
we?
Brady Bunch. She's like punching up the screen at him.
Grasshopper. Grasshopper.
All right, so I'm the hair salon again. Okay, and then we'll do a restaurant or something. I'm the hair salon, Kara. I'm closed. I can't open for business right now. What should I be doing with my website? I want you to break this into two separate things because, again, yes, this is something that we do. The purpose of this podcast is not to be a commercial for our services, but it's impossible for us to talk about what we do without saying we do it. So the first thing is I want you to talk about what a business owner can do on their own for free. And for the sake of discussion, I want to assume here that we're dealing with a person that has an IT IQ, like an information technology IQ that is on par with somebody who can use a computer, who can get email, who can go on Facebook. But that's about it. No coding, nothing like that. What can those people do right now to improve their website's presence so that when they do reopen and people Google search, where can I get a haircut today? My business pops up first.
Right, absolutely. So the first thing you'd want to do is take your website. You can go, there's a lot of free SEO testing software. We have some on SchrockInteractive.com. You can go in and you can type your URL into this and it'll scan your website and then it'll tell you where you're ranking for keywords. So when you're looking at your keywords.
What's a keyword?
Yep, that's where I'm going. When you're creating a website, you should be writing content that is reflective of what you do, your sole purpose in your company. So your keywords would be, if we're doing hair salon still, right? We're there?
Yep.
So your keywords would be salon. Your keywords, it would be everything from general salon, hair stylist, hair color, things like this, down to local. So you want to rank for things like local hairstylist or hairstylist Omaha. So those would be your ideas for keywords, right? So
Okay.
things you really want to rank for. Yeah, go ahead.
I said, okay.
Oh. I thought you wanted to talk. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're ranking high for those. If you're not, go back and adjust the content on your website. Make sure that you are really talking about what you do.
Okay, so let me stop you for a second there. As a business owner, what you're telling me is if I want my website to rank at the top, I should, on my webpage, I should talk about all the things that I do. So that means if I'm someone with an average IQ for technology, I'm going to put a page on my website with a laundry list of everything I do. And then I'm going to talk about how we're the best at everything I do. And this page is going to be 5,000 miles long. It's going to look like a MySpace profile.
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew
Well,
it.
that's what, is that not what we have seen businesses do that we have to undo for them when they come work with us?
And that is actually called black hat SEO, which means bad SEO. Google recognizes that as keyword stuffing.
Okay.
So if you're on your page and you're just basically saying, I'm a hairstylist and I dye hair and I do this and I do this, it realizes that it compares you to your competitors. So I think the first thing before you even do that is go look at your competitors. Find out who your core competitors are.
It's
Because
usually not who you think it is.
it's not ever.
That's right.
And that's the thing. All the rules are out the window right now. So if I'm a hair salon, right? My wife gets her hair cut at Trios. Trios is like one of the biggest hair salons in Omaha.
Yep.
And what I'm saying right now is Trios is the same as the small 6-chair salon from a web perspective.
Mhm.
You could beat them right now if they're not doing anything. If they are sitting on their laurels, which I don't know that they are, don't get me wrong. My wife's haircut price just went up. If they're sitting on their laurels and they're not doing anything, your 6-chair salon over here can actually outrank them,
Yes.
right? Is that where we're?
Right.
Okay. So my guess here, I would think you'd want to have a page on your website about each thing that you do, like a
Yeah.
separate page.
Absolutely.
And then you could focus that page on that specific thing. Because one of the favorite lines that I've heard you use with clients is that, websites don't get ranked, web pages get ranked.
Right.
So when people
Right.
say, I want my website to come number one, websites don't get ranked. It's the page. So you can have some page from Egypt on your page, on your website that no one ever gets to except for Google, but it ranks for Paul Mitchell color protect shampoo-ishness on a Sunday. And maybe
To give you the example on the Schrock Innovation site, we have, it's like a really old post that ranks so high. Like when I'm looking at Schrock Innovation's website, I don't remember, you'd have to remind me what it is. It's like,
it's the safe mode or the beep codes.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the beep codes.
it's ridiculous. Or
And do you know why we have that page about beep codes? Do you know where that came from? One of our competitors put a page up on his website about what do the beep codes mean. And we did the same thing. We obviously didn't copy what they put on their page, but we did a similar page, but we just did it better.
Right. That's exactly it. So then the next thing I would tell you to do is make sure that you have social media. Social media is so important. And honestly, when Google and Yahoo and Bing and all these search engines look to see if you're a credible business with a credible site, they're looking at your performance on social media. They're looking to make sure you have a Google My Business page. Google My Business pages are so important and so overlooked. So that's going to be a page on Google where you're going to go and you're going to tell Google that you have a business and what category your business falls into. And this is something I do professionally, but it's something you can do yourself. You don't have to hire me to do that. It actually, from an SEO standpoint, if you were to hire me, pretend I don't even work for Schrock, right? If you were to hire somebody to do your SEO and you already had a Google My Business page, like that gives you something to jump from. So when people are saying into Google, hair salon near me, and you're coming up in those top 3 on when you see the top 3 listed and you can see the map of where they're located, like that's money in the bank right there.
All right, let me hit you with some Machiavellian stuff, Kara,
Ah,
because the hair industry is cutthroat. So here's the thing. We all know that all the hair salons are closed right now, right? We all know that Google will rank an open business higher than a closed business,
agreed.
right?
Okay.
We're open for product curbside pickup between this hour and this hour.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is I want to tell Google that we are open,
Mhm.
even though we're not open. We're open for curbside pickup, but how often do you buy shampoo, really?
Right.
But we're open, right?
Right.
So is that bad?
It is bad. And it's bad because you're going to have customers trying to come to your business, right? And then they're going to realize that you're not open.
But everybody knows they're all closed right now.
Wait. Some people are going to see that you're open and try it. And when they get there and they realize that you're closed, they are going to write a bad review.
You can't write reviews right now. Google's not accepting reviews right now.
That's going to open, I think, quicker than anything else. I truly think that Google's going to be the first thing to open the floodgates.
All right, see, this is why my staff hates me, because fine, we're going to put a lawn chair in front of the door, and through the little mailbox slot in the door, we're going to hang a pair of clippers out the door, and you can sit there and cut your own hair. We're open.
Hate is a strong word. Thor.
Yeah, it is like that.
Okay, so what here? This is the kind of conversation though that we have with
Being
clients.
creative.
We're going to have business owners that come to us with things like I just said, like, can we lie on our Google business profile? And if you lie on it, now here's the thing. This is what I honestly think would happen if you did that. Google would rank you higher.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
after a period of time, somebody somewhere would figure out that you were gaming the system, because Google is not dumb. They will figure it out. Their machines are smart. Their machines will figure it out. It's like, we're so small, they'll never look at us. No, the machines always look at you.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to get hit in the face with a hammer so hard that you're never going to recover.
Right.
And so don't do stuff like that. So as business owners, they will come to us with that exact same kind of thought process. And they look at Kara and Cliff Digital. And they'll say, I don't understand why we're not ranking for something. And then we go back and we look at the data and we make the adjustments for them to rank for it. And then we can see leads coming in, but they're just not converting them. Their internal business practices are wrong. And then we end up in the same conversation every month where they come back to us and say, we're not getting any sales. And we're saying, we're sending you leads. They're saying those leads aren't converting. And then we're saying, well, what do you want us? You're in California. We can't go run your business for you. You gotta fix that. You gotta get the guy that's answering the phone and switch him with somebody else. I'm not saying maybe fire him would be strong, but maybe just a subtle change of personnel. Just a
change in personality.
Okay. So the one thing that I would suggest, is really take this time to look at not only your business, but your competitors. You really, really need to be looking at what your competitors were doing before this happened and where you fell short, right? Because even if you were at the top, you have other companies that could be looking at how to come out of this on top. Yeah. So if you are right now, if you're ranking, I don't know what, 7th position, or we can use Cliff Digital again, where they were ranking 58.
Yeah, it was awful.
Is that right? And so within 2 weeks, it was kind of a crash course in SEO. We brought them up to third position on Google, right? So imagine if you are a small company and you are not ranking, right? But you use this time to figure out your keywords and you study your competition to see what they were doing online. And you use this time to get someone to do your SEO in a way where when the gates open, you are ready to run, right? And people have seen you at the top, because I guarantee you right now, if women want their hair done, they are still Googling.
Is there one in Colorado I could go to maybe? Kansas? Iowa?
And maybe salons are different. So I have, I usually go and get massages because I have, I'm really tense. I have a teenager and a preteen. Oh my lordy, you all get it. I know you do. So I usually go and get massages semi-regularly, and my massage place is actually one of our customers, and I can't go, right? And so we're working on their website, trying to get them to rank and be at the top when the gates open, because after this, Thor said this, people are going to want to be out. People are going to want to go do all those things. People have stimulus money. They don't have anything to spend on other than Amazon.
Well, that's the thing. No, here's the thing. Right now, the stimulus checks, we've had a rush over at Schrock Innovations on the computer side of people calling to buy gaming computers and toys, basically, but they want to keep the price at $1,200 or less. So the stimulus checks are being spent on toys right now because you can't spend it on services. So going back to our very first example with the hair salon, if you were online and you had an e-commerce portion of your business where people could book a seat in your salon the day one that it opens, whatever day that is, if it's a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday, whatever day that is that we open, you got the first chair and you can put your money down for that, you can get a piece of the stimulus money. That's what this is about. That you have to find a way to get a piece of this pie, or your competitors are going to get it, or worse yet, someone outside of your industry is going to get it.
And let's look at the flip side of this too. If you were on top before this happened, but you were like, well, we're closed, whatever, we're just going to, not pay attention to this.
We have the fortress balance sheet. We're going to be fine.
Right. We're just going to let it go. We were at the top. It's not going to move. Yeah, it is. And I can tell you, Google releases a new algorithm every time you get your SEO situated. We'll go there. I see the phones and laughing. So SEO is a constantly moving thing. It's always adjusting. And I can tell you, I am watching everything so closely because I'm like, where's the next thing going to hit? That's all of a sudden, Schrock Innovations is at the top for computer repair. And all of a sudden we're going to be 58th. And we're going to be like, what did Google just do? Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. The big thing about this is if you're advertising as a business, as business owners, you know that there are two huge items on your balance sheet on the expense side. You have people and you have advertising. Those are your two biggest expenses always, marketing and labor. Those are the two biggies. So they say there's never a good time to cut your marketing budget.
Right.
Because when you cut your marketing budget, it creates a negative feedback loop. But yet what we had when this first popped off, we had lots of clients calling us saying, take the website down.
Yep.
Like, don't do anything with my website. Like, and we're like, wait a minute, let me be really clear that you want to take your website off the internet so nobody can find you. Do you realize the permanent damage you're going to be doing to your brand by doing that? Now, there's a difference between not doing anything with the website and taking it off the internet. Leave it up. Leave it up. I know it's a $30 a month expense, and that blows right now. I get it. But you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars with Kara to undo the damage of taking that website, removing yourself as a competitor for a month. Because Google, you don't just jump back in where you left off and go back up again. You start at the bottom of the pile, and you have to start all the way over.
I was going to say, comment more on what Google does. Maybe Alfonso wants to do this. What Google does when your website has no web presence, and then all of a sudden you try to build one. Like, you're working from scratch.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually,
we have
it
that
is worse.
experience. Yeah.
It's worse than starting from scratch, because you have like all those bad URLs and all those things that you're.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's worse than starting from scratch.
Imagine it's your job to rank websites. This is what you do for a living, and you're presented with no. I said, like, pretend you're Google. This is what you do. You rank websites, and you have websites on this side of the column that are online and doing their stuff, and you have websites on this side of the column that didn't even pay to keep their website on the internet. Now, if your job is to direct people toward websites that are the most likely to meet their service needs, even when these come back online, they're not really stable. They're not stable, right? So we're just going to kind of push their options, but they're options on the second page.
Right.
And as we know from every SEO email that we get from India, we guarantee we'll get you on the first page of Google.
Right.
You know?
Well, you can compare this to when you have to downsize a business, right? And you're looking at who you should let go. Right. And you have like he was saying, like on this side, you have these really productive employees. And on this side, you have these people who are calling in sick all the time. Like, who are you going to go to? Right. You're going to pick the one that's long standing. We can also. So that was an extreme example where you're going to take it offline. But what about websites that are just completely neglected for a while?
Taking them offline is exactly what people wanted to do, just like they did with their radio spots. They took their radio spots off the air because nobody can do business with us. And nobody is remembering here the value. You don't have to reduce the frequency. That's fine. But you never want to stop advertising. And so from a search engine perspective, right now, everything is so fragmented. And I can tell you that 15 years ago, we were buying ads in the yellow pages at Schrock. And then yesterday we got a phone book, which the first thought was great. We got the coronavirus phone book here. Thanks for that. A skeezy looking guy dropped a phone book on my porch, But it's this thick, literally, like that thick.
It's tiny.
It's nothing. There's no ads in it anymore because nobody uses it. You can't even use it as a booster seat anymore. It's almost like a coaster. It may be a mouse pad. I mean, it's nothing. Where did all the advertising go?
Right.
It went online. So everybody's competing for your business online. That's why when you try to call a plumber, it doesn't seem to matter who you call. You call Ben Franklin. You call Mr. Reuter. You call Two Men and a Snake. That's a real place, by the way. They have an interesting graphic on the side of their truck. You call these people, and you all end up at the same McCarthy Heating and Air Plumbing.
Right.
Why is that? Because they bought all the small guys, but they kept their web presences because their web presences were ranking. And so you own all the websites, you get all the moolah. That's how it works. So going forward, Kara, let's give people a hit list. So the first thing you said was Google Business. It's a free thing you can do. Does Yahoo and Bing have similar pages that business owners can fill out?
Yes, absolutely. So every search engine has individual pages for your business profile, right? So you're going to go in, and it's going to ask you what your business name is. It's going to ask you what your industry is. It's going to ask you where your location is, because that's when everything is turning to mobile, right? So when somebody says, I need a hairstylist near me, if your address is up there and you're the closest thing, that's what it's going to tell you.
Yeah.
So And then it's going to ask you for contact information. It's going to ask you constantly. Thor and I are constantly getting emails like, you need to post. You haven't posted to these for a long time. And I'm like, Thor.
A long time is like a week, you know? You haven't posted in a week.
Yeah. And it alerts you. It's a big deal. It is. These business profiles, I guess, are akin to your Facebook and all of your other social media when it comes to Google, because Google's like, if you're not even taking the time to rank with me, you know. And then I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I wanted to let Thor talk, but you know, he was talking about don't let your marketing go. Like, how many companies are spending thousands on trade shows, or were before this happened? You have, I mean, if you have that money, you have the money to really ramp up your web presence, which is so important. And even when we open up, it's still going to be the most important method of marketing. Yeah. Whether you're going local or you're going national, you know, you really need to know how to rank for those things so that you can topple the competition.
All right. And I think you're absolutely right, Kara. You know, if you have dry powder right now, in other words, if you're a business that's financially sound, if you do have a fortress balance sheet, now is not the time to sit behind your fortress balance sheet and sip your cognac and be like, wah, we're waiting for everything to reopen. You know, right now is the time that you want to make sure that no upstart. Think back in time as a business owner when you were the young upstart. Mm-hmm. Somebody like that is gunning for you right now. Are you going to let them catch you? Are you going to let them take you down or take your piece of the business once this thing reopens? So I guess we got to wrap this one up because we went a little bit long. But when we come back, we're going to do a final segment. During this segment, this is going to be kind of a prediction segment. So this is going to be each of us saying what we think is going to happen, when we think we're going to reopen, when it's going to be safe to reopen. Basically, this is probably one of the most popular pieces of the aftershock lately that we've been doing on our Facebook show after the radio show, is when we talk about coronavirus predictions, because for whatever reason, the Schrock team has been kind of spot on with everything that happens. Weirdly spot on. Thorstradamus spot on. It's weird.
Well, and I was going to mention that in the beginning. I'm like, you know, you were talking about how, you know, you're Lysoling everything. And I'm like, yeah, but you started early. Like, I remember being warned that this was happening and being like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, we were looking at this in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do predictions. We're going to go around. Everybody will give their prediction for when do you think we're going to reopen? What do you think the reopen is going to be like? And what do you think, are we going to go back to normal or are we going to have a new normal? And what is it going to look like? Coming up next. And now it's next. All right. See, I mean, that's what you have to do when you're going to slice it up, though, right? When you're going to make it into a broad. I keep bumping my desk and my monitors.
Yeah, you're like an earthquake. Yeah.
I saw a
Facebook. The wall behind you was waving or something.
There's like a Facebook meme out there that's like, you know, with it says God, and it's like, you know, it's the coronavirus. Everybody hide your house, and then there's an earthquake. Everybody get out of your house, and God's like, you put the scared people in, you put the scared people out, make them all about, you know. Anyway. That's my singing for the day. Thank you. All right. All right. Welcome back, guys. We're going to do a quick prediction segment and let everybody know kind of what we feel is going to happen in the business community, what we are expecting, what we're planning for. Hopefully it will give you some insight into what maybe you can plan on, or maybe it'll cause you to think about something in a different way that you didn't think about it before. Some of the stuff that I'm going to say is going to be a little shocking because I've got some strong opinions on things that may or may not happen. But it's something to think about. So I'll save mine for last because I'll just tick everybody off and then everyone will stop listening. So first off, Alfonso, when do you think the lockdown is going to, how do we define this, guys? How are we going to say, what is lifting the lockdown? Is that when everybody can go anywhere they want and do any business they want?
Lifting the lockdown?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah. No at home.
But it would be like without social distancing, maybe?
No, not without social distancing, but the lockdown means no stay at home, no, businesses are open.
Okay.
Everyone's pretty much back to going to restaurants and,
But you can't social distance at a restaurant or a salon.
Right, but you can put it in place, right? You can only allow.
You can't stay 6 feet away from, yeah.
That's right.
So, I mean, what is when this is over? I guess that's the first definition we need to come up with, so we all agree.
Exactly. And I think that's going to define what's going to be the new normal or the normal. I think that,
All right, let's start there then. Let's say, Alfonso, what do you think the new normal is going to be 6 months from now?
well, the new normal for me would be like we're going to keep the social distancing. We're going to, even though there are going to be some businesses open, I think that the social distancing will be there, right? We're going to keep the 6 feet, away from everyone. That's me defining the new normal. When we're going to be lifting our lockdown. So I would say like a month from now here in Nebraska, I think a month from now. So it would be by the end of May, probably. That's my opinion.
What's the first thing you're going to do when it's lifted, Alfonso, personally?
Well,
Get a haircut?
no, I'll do it myself. So, I'm just waiting for the daycare. That's gonna be my lockdown lifting. The daycare, if they're open, but we're not taking our kids there because they're risking it.
Essentials.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be my lockdown lifting. Like when we're safe, when we feel safe to take our kids to a daycare.
All right, Kara, what is the new normal going to look like, in your opinion, 6 months from now?
Okay, so based on what I've talked with my parents about, again, they're respiratory practitioners, as we talked about in the previous segment. What we think is going to happen is that people are going to be tested to see if they have already had this virus and didn't know it. So these antibodies, these antigens are really going to give us the answer to whether we should be out. And I really think it's going to be very uncomfortable because I think the people who are tested, once they find out that you can't be reinfected, which my parents say that was not true, that was released in the media, and that's not accurate. Could be, could not be, right? So I think what's going to happen is if you're cleared, sounds really restrictive. I see Thor over there. I can see him. He doesn't like what I'm saying. If you're cleared,
It's your opinion. You give your opinion.
Okay. Well, and this is what medical professionals have told me, right? So if you go get cleared, you're going to be able to go out, right? And you're going to be able to have a little bit more freedom with it, where you're moving to, where you're going. And I think that's going to be the new normal until they figure this out. I don't think a vaccine is going to fix it. My parents don't think a vaccine is going to fix it. Vaccines don't really prevent all of the flu because new strains produce stuff like that. I think it's going to become the past, but I think that businesses are going to be so used to being on the internet, even businesses that weren't before. I mean, you have to think about businesses like delivery, right? Like restaurants that you never could have gotten a delivery from are like, sure, we'll bring it to you. We'll bring you your mimosa on Sunday morning.
Yeah, your 32-ounce mimosa, is that something that really happened?
That really happened. So I ordered breakfast from Garden Cafe.
Breakfast?
Brunch. Hey, and it was like mimosa, and I'm like, this can't really be real. So I was like, nobody's really delivering alcohol, right? So I tested it. Okay, sure, give me a
Purely for science.
Purely for it was anecdotal. Leave me alone. So I ordered a mimosa. This guy dropped off. It was like a huge styrofoam cup, like bigger than my head.
My God.
And it was 32 ounces. And I was like, okay, so this is like a week's worth of mimosa, right? And then I was like, I should pour this into a nice cup. And I realized there was a straw. Like they were like, just stick the straw in it and go.
Oh.
And so I think that, there's going to be a new normal that is really pushing us past the future that we thought we were in, because everything's going to start to be automated. And that's why Alfonso is so important because he knows how to automate these things. He knows how to help you create that pickup curbside or delivery thing, you know, and for when I think we might open all the way back up, I pray to God it's fall because I am tired of e-learning with my children.
Wow, you're willing to stay locked into the fall?
No. So
wow.
My family has a plan. You asked Alfonso what's the first thing he's going to do. We're throwing a outside barbecue. Like, and
Okay.
after
That's
that, my kids made me promise that we would have sleepovers with all of their friends. I tentatively agreed because I just don't want to argue with them because I can't send them away right now.
You pulled the old, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right. Just getting out. Right.
Yes.
But I really just don't know when it's going to end. And I think that is where a lot of people are at, you know. Thor is a little bit ahead of us in terms of like understanding things, I think, because for me and my parents who work in it, they're like, we have no idea where the end is.
I'm no respiratory therapist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
What?
You never heard that commercial?
No.
That's like where the guy's like, I'm not a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. And he's like got some trauma victim on the ground. He's like saving their life. In other words, if you stay at a Holiday Inn Express, you're like smarter and more brilliant. And yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a weird thing for commercials. I hear them in my head. Like I remember the Fisher-Price toy testing facility. And it was a commercial that Fisher-Price ran when I was a little kid where kids just beat the living you-know-what out of their toys. They were testing them, you see, smashing them on the floor, jumping on them. And I went into my toy room, and I'm like, I'm in the Fisher-Price testing facility.
Yeah,
and I just
right.
started smashing my toys. My parents were like, what's wrong with this kid?
My kids walk around singing commercial jingles.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like ones that like I'm like, really? The Menards commercial has been sang in
They'll save big money.
years. Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Completely.
I know I've had Baby Shark stuck in my head for like a week now because my daughter's been listening to it. Except we have a baby, so then I just start changing the words to thing like a river full of memories for Frozen is a river full of manatees, and Baby Shark becomes Baby Schrock, and it's.
Jay about the fishy song on Fortnite. Get that one launched in your brain.
Oh gosh!
Oh,
All right,
boy.
Annette, what do you think the new normal is going to look like when this thing?
I think the new normal is going to be versus brick and mortars, more online present first and foremost, and then I believe, and I really believe that it's going to be towards the end of June, not fall, but more mid-June. But the norm is going to be, the new norm is going to be still social distancing, I believe. And also maybe the new norm will be wearing masks, depending on, where you're at and where you're going, is going to be wearing masks.
Walmart.
Because Walmart, yes, definitely.
My hazmat suit for that.
Walmart, so that's the new norm, is social distancing, even with your own parties at home, I believe, because we don't know, unless they live with you in your household, you don't know where your other family members have been.
How long do you think, Annette, till we get to the new normal?
Oh, a year.
Wow. So you're going to stay in your house for another year?
No. Okay.
Poor Alfonso's like, no.
Oh.
The norm, I would say mid-June.
Gotcha. Okay.
I am banking on 4th of July at your house, Thor.
Well, we have a killer Schrock 4th of July party every year, and we're counting on that too.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. So, guys, this is the unfiltered, unvarnished, what I think is going to happen. See, the thing is, each of you guys gets to operate within a framework, right? And it's my job to provide the framework. So a lot of business owners that are watching this right now, it's your job to provide the framework for your people to operate within. Sometimes you have to deal with what your people are comfortable with. We have a couple germaphobes that work for us. Literally, I had to take the Lysol cans away from Eli because he would have one in front of him and one behind him, and he was walking in a fog. And I'm like, dude, we have 16 cans of Lysol to last Lord knows how long. You got to stop doing that. He's like, I'll bring some from home. And you're like, oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway. Number one, there is not going to be a vaccine ever for this. this is without getting into all the medical. You can read all about it. You can Google it. But the flu vaccine works because it's a different type of infection than a coronavirus vaccine. The coronavirus family is the common cold family. I am not saying that COVID-19 is a common cold. What I am saying is it's the same type of infection. It's much more contagious, whatever else, higher mortality. We can get into all that. But it's a strand of RNA covered in a fatty tissue, basically, that protects it from exposure to the elements. So when you Lysol something, you're dissolving the fatty tissue. When you spray it with bleach water, you're dissolving when you put it in heat, you're dissolving the fattiness, which causes the RNA to die, because viruses aren't really alive anyway. You can't kill them. So with that said, they don't alter your cells. They get into your body, they sit on top of the cell, and there has never been a vaccine for any coronavirus. And the reason is when they try to vaccinate people for coronaviruses, they die. It's dangerous. It's scary. I am not going to be the first one in line. If they do come up with a vaccine, Bill Gates can shoot it into anybody else he wants first. He ain't giving it to me. So anyway, that's the first thing. If you're saying this will all go to normal when we have a virus, and I'm hearing on Fox Business they're going to have a virus, an antidote or an immunization for this. What's the word I'm looking for? A vaccination for this that'll protect everybody. They'll have it within 7 to 18 months. I am telling you, that is a pipe dream. It is not going to happen. So just write that off. If it happens, it'll be one of those things like a windfall PPP check that you don't need to spend on employees, right? Ain't going to happen. But nevertheless, write that off. So now we know we're going to deal with this. What is going to happen is we are going to unlock the economy at some point in the near future. Nebraska Crossing wants to open this weekend for a thing. I know, Kara, your parents think it's absolutely nuck and futz. It literally, like, they didn't say it like that. They said it much worse. But this is nuts. She's been dealing with people in Grand Island that are dying, and they're saying we want to open a mall. So, and I get that. And then there are other people on the other side saying we got to reopen at some point, right? So the thing is, we're going to have a gradual phased kind of reopening. However they decide to do that, they're going to open this up and open that up. And the last things to open up are going to be the people that are hit the worst, your salons, your restaurants. This is where it gets uncomfortable. You don't realize how many businesses are dead already. They're talking about finding dead coronavirus victims in apartments and in places, where they just go in like, we haven't heard from Mabel in a month. And they go in there and Mabel died of coronavirus. There are businesses that are just as dead, that are not coming back. They have employees who might think the business is coming back, but it's not. These are the people that have been fired from big companies that work with places like the zoo or First National Bank or Wells Fargo or any of these other big contracts that you get and you're super excited about. Those businesses are gone, or they're going to come back in some shell form that's nothing like their previous strength.
You say the zoo is gone?
No, the zoo is fine. Well, the zoo is still here. I don't know if the zoo is gone, but the zoo is still here. The animals are still there. But they have to be careful at the zoo because the animals can get coronavirus too. So they literally have to be really careful because any mammal can get a coronavirus.
Wow.
That tiger. Yeah, there was a tiger.
A tiger?
Positive for coronavirus.
Yeah, Tiger King
Right
stuff.
Right after they said that our pets couldn't get it, a tiger got it.
Right.
Yeah.
They did say that.
I blame Tiger King, but
It was Carol Baskin's husband.
it was Carol Baskin.
But anyway, the long and the short of it is there's not going to be a vaccine. We're going to have a phased reopening. At some point, it's going to go terribly wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to reopen, and everyone's going to be like, woo, they're all going to rush out. And 2 weeks later, we're going to get slapped with a wave of infection, and they're going to clamp down again.
That's where my parents are scared. They're like,
They're going to clamp down again. So basically, the way that I'm envisioning this for everybody is, let's say you've got a line. This is your line right here, and here is where we're at now with lots. Or let me see, it's backwards. There we go. Here we are. And we have lots of infections. And the infection line is going to curve down eventually because people are going to die or people are going to get immunized themselves by getting it. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not trying to be rude or crude. I'm just saying that's what happens. You either get sick and you die, or you get sick and you recover. Those are the options. So because everyone's going to get it eventually. So you got it here, and your line's going to go like this. And inside this line, you have a curve. And it started to go way up here where we're like, oh, no, the healthcare system's going to be overwhelmed. So we flattened the curve, and the curve went way down here again. And then we're going to reopen, and it's going to go up, and it's going to hit that line again. And then they're going to go, oh, no, we got to flatten the curve, and it's going to come down again. and it's going to keep doing this. We're going to have probably 4 peaks, I'm guessing,
So you
before
think
this
you're
is
going to keep going back to it? Going back to this, go home, stay in your homes?
at least on a regional level. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen over and over. So what happens then if Douglas County has a flare up and Douglas County Health Department issues a stay-at-home order, closes down salons and restaurants and does all that stuff again, but Sarpy County doesn't, or Lancaster County doesn't. All these people are in Council Bluffs if the boats stay open, if the casinos stay open, for example. People are going to just geographic borders can't contain this.
No.
So that's why you have to lock everything down if you're going to lock anything down. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So the problem here is we could have a situation where one of two things is going to happen. Either there's not going to be the political appetite to close down a second time, regardless of the number of people getting sick, as long as the healthcare system can keep up with what's coming. If we get enough vents, if we get enough PPE, and we have most of your healthcare workers, I'm guessing, have already had it by now, or maybe they have, maybe they haven't, but I'm just going to guess that most of them have been exposed to it. So by that time, if the healthcare system can keep up, there's no reason to shut anything down, because the whole reason you shut it down is to flatten the curve. If we get to the point where the healthcare system is overwhelmed, then you got to shut down. The problem is you have to make the call to shut down 2 weeks or so before the healthcare system gets overwhelmed. So you have to predict the future. And if you're wrong, you're going to get absolutely roasted. And if you're right, you're going to be like, Donald Trump bragging about shutting down China early. It's going to be one of those things. Now, luckily in Nebraska, Governor Ricketts is not eligible for reelection. He's term limited out. So a lot of the political pressure is off him. He can make decisions that are sensible, that are in line with what UNMC has been telling him, and are going to save people's lives, but also he can acknowledge that there are businesses that need to reopen. So that's why Nebraska has been one of 9 states, guys, to thread this needle, where we're still relatively open but closed. So it's not going to go away in the next year. We're going to be living with this new normal for at least a year. They're talking about colleges not sending kids back. There's talk about the first semester of kids' school, like elementary school and junior high and high school, will be all distance ed. They're telling teachers to prepare distance education lesson plans for the first quarter of next year, of the next school year. So they're saying in August we may not send kids back to school. Alfonso's going to cry. So
I'm there.
yeah. So, this is what's going to happen. And you're going to say, well, we have to send kids back to school because parents have to work. Well, parents don't have to work because stuff's shut down. Parents are unemployed. We're going to have an unemployment rate that's running really high. What is Schrock doing? What am I actually doing as a business owner right now? Number one, I'm upgrading my staff. I put up an ad on Indeed to hire more computer repair technicians because I've got some employees that are not performing at a level I would like. I've got other employees who need lateral moves. Brian, for example, doesn't really enjoy running a service center, but he's really good at data recovery, and we have enough data recovery volume that we need a dedicated person in that lab. So why don't we move Brian into the data recovery lab where he is really good and really efficient at what he does, and let's hire somebody who's really good with computers to run the service center. If we don't have anyone we can promote up, let's bring somebody that's good in. Right now, people are getting laid off everywhere. You can get talent at a discount right now. People are cheap right now. You can buy them cheap. And that sounds horrible to say, but I'm saying as an employer, you can get people for a good wage right now because you're open and people can work.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many people are contacting me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm happily employed.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when do I think this is going to get back to normal? I don't think in the next 5 years we're going to be back to where we were before this happened. I think that if you believe that that's going to happen, if you believe in the V-shaped recovery model where we're all going to wake up one morning and decide it's okay to go back out and do everything the way we did it before, we're going to get there. But the V, it's a giant capital V that spans 5 years, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. So as a business owner, you don't have 5 years to wait for this. So you have a decision to make. As a business owner, you are either going to embrace the suck, as they say in the military, and get with the program and find a way to make this work, or you're going to complain about it while somebody else finds a way to make it work and put you out of business. Those are your two options. There's no middle ground here. We have to take off our hats as developed 21-year veteran businesses, and we got to pick up the scrappy hat for the business that calls in for school closures and puts them on the website. That's what we got to do. So there are teams. Schrock's not the only place in town, guys. There are other teams that can do this for you. We have a good team. I don't know if anybody else is doing financing with $0 down on that. Gee, thanks for offering that gem. $0 down, 36 equal payments, bring it on. So yeah, we'll do it. But if you're a business that's struggling, look at this. Look at it from our perspective. We're open because we're kind of essential right now. We need to fix people's computers so we have revenue and we can pay our people. But my interactive team services businesses, and they're pretty much idle right now. I mean, they're working on internal projects for Schrock, but no business is really spending money right now because everyone's freaking out. But there's going to come a moment, there's going to come a line when it's time to stop freaking out and start getting something done. And if you figure out where that line is, just like in January, I'm looking at what's happening in China. Kara kind of alluded to this, but and I'm not trying to toot my horn. What I'm saying is in January, I'm seeing that China has all these people dying. And I know China is a lying communist country. I've done business with China. I know I've ordered stuff from China. The people are amazing. The people in China are good people. They've made a bargain, a political bargain, where they give up their freedom in exchange for security. That's what they've done. And that's what you get with China now. So China does not care about anybody but China, anybody but the Communist Party in China. So you can't assume anything there is going to change. So when you look at what's happening and what things are going to happen going forward, there's going to be globalism is cracked right now. Will it crumble? I don't know. There was a great special on socialism the other day talking about how Poland cracked first, and then all of a sudden all the cracks webbed in the Soviet Union fell. So I'm not saying China's going to fall, but they're actually protesting in the streets of Wuhan. They're getting beaten with sticks by police, and they're protesting anyway. It's like a modern civil rights movement. In America, we have people protesting right now because they want things reopened. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. As a business owner, it's not my job to decide what the policy is. If I wanted to decide what the policy is, I'd run for office. My job is to plan for whoever is in office, whatever they're going to do, whatever I think they're going to do. I think Governor Ricketts is going to reopen the state at the end of the month. He has put everything behind this 21-day thing. We're in, day 18 now? Number one comment, every morning it's like day 18 of, keep it, or whatever, 16, whatever it is for, flattening the curve to stay safe. And the first comment was a hairstylist or a hair salon owner that said, I don't understand how you get to 18 days when I've been shut down for 2 months. You can be that person, and it's okay to be frustrated and angry, and it's okay that this is not right. Because every rule that as business owners we have followed for 21 years has gone out the window. It's gone. There are new rules that haven't been written yet. So you need to get limbered up and get flexible right now if you want your business to survive for another 21 years. So we're going to wrap it up with that, guys. That's my prediction. It's really gloomy and scary.
Yeah, great ending there.
But there's opportunity here. That's the thing. There is opportunity in change.
Do you think that everyone will get COVID-19? Do you think everyone will end up getting it, though?
That's like asking, is everyone going to get the common cold at some point in their life?
Right.
Yeah.
I think,
at some point.
Can I accept that, maybe? I think that a lot of us have probably had it. My personal opinion.
Yep.
My parents' opinion.
It went, just an inside baseball, guys. We talk about this in all of our meetings, but it went through Schrock in January.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
my God, it was terrible.
Gabe
I
came
got
to
tested, guys.
Gabe,
I got tested.
and you're negative right now, but you weren't tested for antibodies. You were your dad was in the hospital, so you got a COVID test because you were chilling in the hospital for endless times. But Gabe, one of our senior technicians, came to work with a cough that lasted 4 weeks. It was like the running joke. Gabe, go home. You're sick. He got it from his girlfriend.
Oh.
And
who works at UNMC.
Yes. And so then he brought it into work. And then, it was going around, and Kara got the cough next. Then your son got sick, right?
My son and I were terribly ill.
And
I
your
have
son-
a respiratory condition, too, so we were...
Well, tell about your son's test. What happened with him?
My son has asthma. He took the good parts of me. So he was super sick. So naturally, as a parent, you're sick. Don't go to the doctor, but your kid gets super sick and can't get out of bed because they're so tired and they're coughing and they're and fevered, and he's like, I'm so hot now, I'm so cold, and I'm like, oh my God, this is either influenza, which put me in the ICU last year, or who knows. And this was before anything broke. So I took him into Boys Town.
This was January.
Was
Right.
it February?
Yeah.
Late January, early February, somewhere in there.
So I took him in, and the pediatrician, we didn't see our pediatrician. We saw another one that we have seen before. We've been with the same peds since birth. And he was like, this looks like influenza. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to test for it. I'm like, sounds like a great idea. So he tested for it. It came back negative. And he looked at me. You know, what was interesting about the exam was that he listened to my son's lungs for longer than any doctor has ever listened to my lungs. And I have an airway condition. Okay. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I don't say anything, but I'm like, that's really weird. Like, he is seriously listening to my kid for 3 full minutes. Anthony's looking at me like, oh my God, Mom. I mean, he's 13, so he's not 5, right? He's like, what is going on? And he goes, it's negative, but I'm still going to say influenza. He can't go back to school until next Monday. And I'm like,
It's negative, but I'd say, but it's got to be the flu because we didn't know about COVID then.
because they didn't know, but he was very concerned because it was that creepy cop. And Gabe, I was the one that was always making jabs at Gabe. I'm like, why are you at work? Please go home. And he's like, I can't. Like,
Yep.
I can't work from home. So yeah.
So then you guys got it, and then all of a sudden now I am like the constitution of an ox. I never get sick. When I do get, I never get sick to the point that when I do get a cold or something like that, I whine like a little baby. I'm like, oh, feel good. My wife's like, shut up, you have a man cold. You know, that's how I roll it. But it only happens like I think twice in our 16-year marriage. You know,
Wow.
so I never get sick. So then all of a sudden one day I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm gonna take a day, and I just laid on the couch. And I'm like, and I slept and I napped and I didn't really eat or anything. I had no energy to do anything. And the next day I was like, oh man, I don't feel good. I never had the cough, but I was like, something's not right here. And then all of a sudden I get over it. Like the next day I'm fine. I'm like, well, back to work. And that's my wife. It's like a running joke. Like Thor doesn't feel good. So he goes and lays down for 5 hours and takes a nap and he wakes up and he's fine. And it really ticks me off. You know, but I woke up and I wasn't fine. And it was like another day. This was big. It took like 24 hours for me to get over this. And then I go back to work and I'm like, well, that was weird. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get shingles.
Oh, yeah.
And I had this rash on my chest. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, what is it? I have no idea. And I'm like, I'm looking on the internet, like when you're Google, like, what's that rash.com, you know? And I'm like looking at the pictures and I'm like, it looks like shingles, but only old people get shingles, right? And so then I go to the doctor and they're like, nope, you got shingles. I'm like, son of a biscuit. Okay, so they give me an antiviral and I get over it. I go to fill the antiviral, and of course, before I take it, I look up the medicine to see what it is. And it's the same antiviral that's used to treat genital herpes, because shingles is a herpes virus. And so I go into like Walgreens at 11 o'clock at night. It's the only one open. It's like the skeeziest part of town. And I'm walking in to get my, like, you know, my genital herpes medicine. and there's some, like, you know, just nice looking young, you know, Asian lady behind. Oh, this was before. So this is like early February. And so I go to get my medicine from the person there, and like I'm super, like, I wish I wouldn't have looked it up because now I'm super self-conscious. Like this young semi-attractive woman behind the counter is going to think I have like genital herpes, and I'm a happily married guy. I'm not on the hunt or anything, but still, you know, man, that's rough. And so then I'm standing there and I'm looking at her and I say, well, wow, you know, funny thing, you know, I guess, you know, not young people can get shingles too. And she looked at me funny, like. And in that moment, it occurred to me, oh, my God, I'm not young anymore. She thinks I'm an idiot. Oh, God, now it's even worse. Oh, my life is over. And so then I get over the shingles, right, and everything is fine. And then after that, Alfonso gets sick. You get the cough, Alfonso.
Yeah,
what did it feel like for you?
Yeah, chills, you know, like those chills were really bad. I don't know, I think that I stay in bed for a couple
You tried
days.
to fight through it. You were at work, and you're from Venezuela, right? You were a tropical man, and so you were sitting there, and you had like a parka on, and you were like trying to code.
Yeah, I remember that meeting. I was like, oh man, like it's taking so long. I just want to go home. I was like, yeah, it felt really bad.
I remember one day Alfonso was like, Kara, are you sleeping? I was like, I thought I had mono. Like, I was literally like just falling asleep at my desk. And he's like, do you remember that, Alfonso?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Go home. I told you, like, what are you
I know.
doing?
I remember that later. Alfonso's like, she was falling asleep. I told her just go home. Go home. You're falling asleep.
and I didn't. I was like, no, just push through. Like, give me more coffee.
Yeah.
But we had something that it felt like a mix of flu and mono, and I
no.
had both.
Yeah,
And
it was
all of my
weird.
kids got it too. Jake spiked a fever for a day and then was fine the next day. Katie, she spikes a fever. Katie's special needs, my daughter. So when
Right.
she spikes a fever, she stops eating, and then it becomes this like negative feedback loop. So we actually have like on hand she doesn't know how to do drainage and stuff. So she gets like a runny nose down their throat. She'll gag on it, throw up, and it becomes this whole huge thing. So it's really important for us to get right on it. So we got her the Tylenol, got her the anti-vomitories. We did all this stuff to get her safe. And the next day she was fine. She never stopped eating. She always stops eating when she gets sick, but she never stopped eating. We're like, I guess she's over it. And then little Louie, he's 2 years old, and he just gets crabby and cranky. And at the time, we're just like, oh, he's teething, But literally, it ran through our entire house. I think we all had it, guys. I think we've already had it. I think we're going to find later that a lot more people have had this than we thought.
And I will reiterate, my parents are medical practitioners, and they both said, we believe we have had this as a family. We know Anthony had it. And these are my mom's words. And that's her grandson, right?
Yeah.
So she's not going to make a big deal out of nothing. She's like, we had this.
Yeah, honestly, I think the best case scenario, guys, is that once we get widespread antibody testing in place, we find out that like 90% of the Nebraska population has already had it. At that
Just
point,
like that thing
we can just reopen everything.
in Chelsea, Massachusetts, where they took random tests on the side of the, just for people walking around, and
A third.
A third of them had the antibodies.
Yep, 1/3 of the population of Boston has antibodies on average. 200 people in a homeless shelter tested, and all 200 were positive for COVID, but none of them had symptoms. They had no idea.
Okay.
They moved all 200 of them to like a facility or something, I guess, to keep them off the streets. But all right, so guys, with that done, the thing here is this is a really, really, really crappy situation. And once you accept that, you just have to, as a business owner, you have to accept that. And then you can, that's your baseline. You can move forward. One of the biggest things about me as a business owner is I have been in so many really crappy situations where either I was stupid and I made a mistake and I misjudged or misallocated or misbudgeted or just spent too much money or just overdid something. All those lessons you learn over time in a business career that you just can't quit. You can't give up. That's not what we do. I don't care how bad it looks. If I have to get out there and fix the computers myself with no support, no help, one service center, and I'm the only guy working in it, that's what I'll do because I believe in what I'm doing. I believe that I can provide service that's better than the next guy. If you believe that as a business owner, you're somebody we want to work with. And those are the business owners that are going to come out of the other end of this. And we're going to honestly see a lot of weaker, smaller businesses or even weaker, larger businesses that are going to collapse from this and go away. The next one we should do should be the Doom Show. This was like the feel-good show, and I have just so many stories I could tell you about. AMC is in bankruptcy, the movie theater chain.
Oh, yeah.
Alamo is considering bankruptcy. Who else? Most of the restaurants that like Olive Garden, places like that may not come back. JCPenney is gone. Neiman Marcus is probably gone. The list goes on and on and on and on, which is going to cause a commercial real estate collapse, which is going to cause a residential mortgage real estate collapse. Now is the time to refinance your house, not because the rates are lower, but because right now is the time to refinance your house, business owners, and pull cash out because you may not be able to do it in 6 months. That's what I'm going to leave you with. So maybe next show we'll do like a here's what you should do now financial advice show. But this was more about telling business owners to get off your butt and get something done. Even if you're shut down right now, there are things that you can do to make the situation better. Yeah. There are things you don't have to wait for the government to give you permission to do these things. You don't have to wait for the virus to go away to do these things. This is the time to work on your business, maybe even work in your business, but let us help you if there's something that we can do. Or if you have a web guy that you trust, or an SEO person you trust, or a radio station salesperson that you work with, now is the time to get on the phone and call those people, because all the rules don't apply anymore. They're all gone. They're out the window. You got to ask for the moon right now, and you'll be amazed at what you get. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, guys. I know you're all busy doing projects that I've tasked you on mercilessly. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and we'll see. I don't know how often we're going to do this, guys. Maybe weekly. I don't know. We'll see. This is the first one, so maybe we need a catchy jingle or something next.
Yes,
Maybe we'll put your son on that, Kara.
Yeah, right. He can.
And it can't be anything like the Menards jingle. Sorry.
It's gonna be the fishy song from Fortnite. Ask your son. I'm serious. Ask your son, then text me and say, "I hate you."
All right, sounds good, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys.